Hi, I'm doing Paul McWhorter's Pico W lessons, and we're up to lesson number 62 when he wanted us to use functions and also write a program that prompted for the number of grades, let you input the grades and store them in an array, and then be able to print them out, get the worst grade, the best grade, the average grade, and sort the grades. So I've got various functions, but here the while true loop, it just says how many grades do you want. Then that's the input grades is the function to input them, print grades is the function to print them, and then you can get average grades with that function. But I've also included a way, I've got my three functions for getting the average and the high and low grades and do the sorted grades. But for the average grade, you wouldn't really reinvent the wheel. There's a built-in function in Python where it's a sub of an array, and so you take the sum of all the grades and divide by how many grades there are, and equally you can do the max value in an array and the min value of an array. And I've just put those in because in the real world that's how you do it. You would not bother to write your own, but I just thought it was good to show that my results came out the same. And then I've got a function to sort the grades. So I think this is called a bubble sort. I didn't want to do any investigation because if you Google, you're cheating. So input grades, for the number of grades that you want, you're just prompting for the grade and putting it in the array and returning it. Simple, simple, simple. And then in the print grades, I've got it slightly different, as opposed to a lot of people might put for I in range length of array, you print the array square bracket I square bracket. I mean that is a neater way of doing it according to me. Then the average grades, you're just going through for each grade, adding it into the total, and oh no, it doesn't matter. Oh yes, it does. Bad me. That ought to be a float. Bad, bad, bad me. So then you're just adding it in to the total and dividing by the number of grades. High, low, you're just going through, and if you put high grade equals 0 and low grade equals 100, that is presupposing you're actually doing it when your values can only be from 0 to 100, which I don't like, because you might fall into the bad habit of always putting 0 for the high and 100 for the low. Well, if you just set it to the first value in the array, you'll never go wrong. Right. Using that is like saying if grade is greater than high grade, HG, you make HG equals grade. And the same, I think it looks neater doing it like that. And the same thing there. If grade is less than low, LG, you make LG equal to grade. Sorting grades. I mean, this is all very basic, but I just thought I'd explain it so it looked like I knew what I was doing. If you've got less than 2 items in the array, as in 0 or 1, you don't need to sort it because it's already in the right order. I've just set a flag not in order, which means that if I've gone through the array, as soon doing the sorting and swapping, as soon as it is in the right order, I don't bother to do anymore. We'll explain that later. So what you're doing is for I in range J. Now J is, we'll forget about J. We'll just go for I in range, and this, ignore what J is. You're going through the array and you're comparing the first and the second item, and if the first is less than the second, you swap them over, and then you're saying, yep, I've done a swap. And then you compare items 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, blah, 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 blah. Then, once you've done that, your smallest value has got right to the end. Therefore, you don't want to, the next time you go into there, you don't want to be sorting all the way to the end, because you can forget about the last item as it's already the lowest, which is what that does. That says J is the length of the array minus 1, and that means that you're looking at all the items right up to the second last one, because you need to be able to go one further to do the swap. Everyone knows this. But then that means that there your J minus equals 1 means every time you aren't going right to the end, you do one less, one less, one less, one less, one less. And I could have put it in, I could have put that for I in range J, I could have put that inside a for J in range, blah, blah, blah. But when you've got a while and 2 for loops, it looks a bit confusing, so I haven't done that. So, how many grades? For grade number 1, 10, 100, 40, 30. Right, what do we have? Your grades, yep, that's what I put in. Average grade is 180, yep, 45, and it gives you the same value using the sum. Max grade 100, yep. Worst grade 10. Worst grade, oh yes, worst grade is up there, 10. Then sorted grades 100, 40, 30, 10. Yep, that all, I won't bother. Oh, it does cope with, we'll put in 3, 100, 90. It copes with duplicates as well. Right, now that is basic, but a more cunning method, according to me, is to use something that is called an insertion sort. Now these can get very complicated, but I've just done the very basic one. And what you do is you know how many values you want to put in, and then as you're inputting them there, you put them in order. So the first one, of course, goes in the first position, and then when you get another one, you say, do I want to insert it before, or do I want to append it, etc. So here we've got num grades is that, while num grades is there some whatever. Then I've got one function that is just, I thought as I'm going through it, I may as well find the high and the low and the average, and then that's just to print it. So up we go here, set up the array. Oh, I actually got the total right there, making it a float. For each grade, I'm adding the grade to the total, that's for the average, and I'm saying inserted equals false. Now that is just I'm saying inserted equals false there, and then if I do insert, I say inserted equals true. That's a way of knowing whether I need to append it at the end. So, as before, if not grade array, that means there's nothing in grade array. So that means I'm setting the high grade and the low grade to the first grade input. Otherwise, I'm going through the length of the array and I'm saying, is the grade greater than or equal to the element? If it is, I insert it. Set the flag to say I've inserted it, and then I break because I don't want to go through there and keep adding it. Then that is just setting the high grade and the low grade as before. And down here, if not inserted, now it will go in there if it was the first one. From there, I want to append it, or if it was it wasn't inserted because it wants to go at the end, and I append it there. So that's just the average grade, and return all the values. That's returning the array, average grade, whatever grade, whatever grade. Now I kind of prefer that. We'll run it and see whether it works. How many grades? 5. We'll go 10, 100, 90, 70, 40. Right, your grades are that, which is what I did put in. Your average grade is 62. Right, so it's 100, 190, 200, 310. Is that my maths? Oh yeah, 310 divided by 5 is 62. Yep. Best grade is 100. Yep. Worst grade is 100. Oh, and I'm not printing the sorted grades. I was wondering where the printed sorted grades. I've printed them out because I sorted them. They were being sorted as they came in, so there we have it. I think that's kind of a bit nicer. You can get a bit flasher with that, because if you've got a very big array, you're actually better off kind of checking to see whether if you've got an array of 100 items and you're trying to insert one, rather than starting at the beginning, you do better to start in the middle and say, does it want to go there? And if it's smaller, you then do a binary chop at that end of the array and that end. So it means that you get to the place where it ought to be a lot quicker. But I didn't want to do that. Who would want to see that? That's my video.